No, maybe.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Great Lakes Fishing Podcast Roadshow. We are at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo. We got three awesome captains and talkers today. All weekend long, we're going to be bringing in three people at a time, just kind of letting people jam. It's a little bit different way of doing it this year. We kind of want to make it a little bit more interactive among the guests, a little bit more interactive among you, the audience, as well. So feel free to drop in the comments what you'd like to hear these guys talk about. But we're going to start with pulling these guys up. We got three awesome captains here with us today. We got Captain Rob Westcott, Captain Richard Hajecki, Captain Matt Yablonsky. Guys, really appreciate you guys stopping in today. It's a lot of fun. Really looking forward to having you guys on. Let's start with an easy question. I think you guys will all have an answer for. What have you been up to since shut it down? What have you been doing this winter? Robbie, we'll start with you.
I don't know. There's two seasons in my eyes: hunting and fishing. We started with hunting season late September.
Make sure you refer to
2 weeks ago, another trip.
Shot a pretty good deer
down there in Mexico. I saw it. Yeah.
Highly recommend it. Everybody goes there. I actually have been to Mexico with Yabo once, so we went to Cabo, did some marlin fishing.
Yeah.
So my first fishing I've ever seen was in Cabo. It was unbelievable.
Beer fishing, then you got out.
22-star morning and 4 hours. But just satisfaction. Unbelievable.
What have you been up to this winter, man?
Watching weather,
watching ice form on the river.
not fishing the river.
Not fishing the river this year.
You run on for the winter. Usually.
On a normal winter, we had so much wind. Our fall
winter was just windy. Get forced once a week for weeks on end. So the river was
cold mud.
It just froze over.
I've never seen the Niagara River freeze like it did this year. The launch went from 10 feet of ice one day to 40,
was
100 feet.
and then
Another week and a half. You guys kind of self-maintain that.
yeah,
We normally do.
you can break the ramp up, you can keep it flowing, it won't break up, but the wind just piled the ice in that was coming down the river and it just froze solid. It's good now. I finally got out on Tuesday. A couple of the guys went down to Fort Niagara and busted up the ramp, put a boat in, and then ran up the river. Took 2 hours of driving back and forth along the ice to break it up. Cleared the ramp out, but we got out there fishing and it was just on fire because those fish haven't been touched. So no, we haven't harassed them all winter, so it's been good. Yeah. So
Rick, what have you been up to?
And the weather this fall was crazy. A lot of wind. Got this real cold flash. And I like to fish this time of year, and I haven't not been able to get out the last 2 years. And part of that is because I sold this automobile.
Yep.
And now we got that. Let's see here. I was out in Minneapolis working a boat show for Smoker Craft. Launched the boat show a few weeks ago. I'm happy to be back at the show rather than sitting at the Central New York boat show like I have the last couple of years. Oh yeah, talk fishing. So I really missed this show. Missed you guys out here. But man, I've got Kevin.
Yeah.
Just waiting for this weather to break. Waiting for some stuff to thaw out so I can get back out there and start chasing the type rounds, which I enjoy doing.
Waiting for the phone call too. Like, hey, want to sneak out on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's nice, Rob. He doesn't have the 9 to 5s on Monday through Friday, so he's always available. I just need to get out there.
Still haven't brown trout fished that far.
are you saying Rob's semi-retired?
No, I'm just self-employed.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't do much in the wintertime.
Not at all.
He's been on the country a couple times.
Vacation and hunting.
So he's got the life.
I know. It's nice.
He doesn't want to build a duck today, he goes fishing. He doesn't want to fish, he goes fishing.
Right. And then when he wants to go fishing, he calls you and take him out.
We have some good times.
We've done a bunch of
There's tournaments. We have a really good time. Really, that's kind of what it's all about to me is having a good time.
Having fun, hanging out with your buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the wintertime brown stuff at fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can get out to them, you know, you're the only boat out there, and then it's just nice fishing. And they're big fish, too. You get some nice ones this time of year.
Like you said, your fish are under rest.
Yeah.
On the river, these fish have been under rest on the lake for months.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's really not even fair.
And they've had enough time, if they were up in the creeks, to come back and rejuvenate and get healthy again. So yeah, they're ready to go.
I guess I'm spoiled in a sense. Usually by the time the big boat goes to the water, brown trout time, I'm kind of over.
Right.
We've been doing this stuff. Yeah. Bring on some salmon.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting all kinds of people talking about audio, so we're gonna try to get that. It seems to be like a reoccurring issue. I don't know. I feel like every year. He said that Matt's audio sounds good, but everyone else.
Maybe I'm just louder than everybody else.
Let's flip this over on the other side.
Awesome. Testing. Is any better?
Can you?
Sound better for Rick.
All right, how's everybody hear Rick now?
Wait, Chris just touched
Mine is okay. Matt's is okay. Rob, why don't you talk a little bit?
About that.
Rob, tell me about. Yeah, tell me what are you doing, Rob, as far as like your gear right now, organizing gear?
It's on my list of things to do. All right.
All right,
Making an adjustment.
we're making an adjustment there.
I started doing any wintertime stuff at home. It's really just based on the fact that I've been out doing other things or other stuff.
Been out of the country.
But I have just picked up some stuff from Comic. They do like some beef rigs. I got reels, line on stuff. They have a very long and hopefully the next month time period.
Could be time to launch. Less than a month.
It's fun to work on this stuff while we're on the air. This is cool.
I still
But there's no point in us continuing if people can't hear. So that's why we're going to try to fix it right now as we go. All right, guys, how about now? Rob, can you talk a little bit?
yes. So we were talking prep that I've done nothing with. Normally I'm pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Pretty prepared. But I'm way behind the
Vermont Fishing Adventures, do you hear us now? Did you hear Rob talking?
Right.
All right, Julie says it's getting better. Your wife. She probably would prefer if she can't hear you, though.
She's heard enough. Mine's not watching either. No.
Well, Julie heard you because she just laughed.
Well, we're leaving for our vacation tomorrow morning, so my wife's picking up the house and packing clothes and getting us ready. We're doing a cruise on the Western Caribbean, so we're gonna fly into Fort Myers, visit my parents for a day and a half, and then we're gonna drive from there to Fort Lauderdale, get on the boat, and hang out with her family and friends. And it's like 6-day, 7-night cruise, and we're ready to get out of town for a little while. No, probably not. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 ports, but I just don't think there's enough time to get a fishing trip in. Yeah.
Right now, you have nothing. They can hear you guys. They can't hear you. I don't know if it has any. This mic is a little goofy, and it was working earlier, and now it doesn't seem to be wanting to work. So I think it's the mic itself. Yeah, this is fun. It's fun. I don't know if that's really the problem.
Who knows?
It should pick it up just fine from there.
It is. As far as prep goes, like I haven't really done anything in my boat either. It's in the marina in a barn, but it's been so cold that like I just don't feel like going down there. And when I put my rods away, I check all my leaders, all my lines. So like my rods are ready to go. So, you know, in the spring we use spoons. I don't really have too much to do for the spring, and my brown trout rods are at the house, so they'll be ready to go. But you know, I kind of prep a little bit before I put the boat away, so that if I don't have time to do new line and stuff, they're ready to go.
It always seems like I'm in a bad dash the hunting season. So
Oh, I couldn't wait to get in a tree stand.
weeks break, like I would fish until the end of September. Hunting season would start mid-October.
Yeah.
We had kind of that 2 weeks where I kind of take my time, and now it's just one phase reading the other.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So what we may do, we're gonna go old school. Back in the old days, we used to pass mics around. So Matt, I'll have you speak in that, and then when Rick wants to talk, just hand him the mic.
Okay.
You're good. Sounds like they can hear you. Yeah,
Still not working then.
but yours is not working.
Mine's
So
not working.
I'll have to figure that out in between time.
It's all good.
So when do your seasons start? When are you going to start fishing? I know Matt's kind of just waiting for ice to clear up, but Rob, Rick, when do you guys get going on the lake?
So get the boat in as soon as possible. Usually about the third week of March is when I get the boat in the water. This year I've got some work to do. The whole entire floor on the boat's the generator. I think we're running the generators. That's got to get. It's a pretty big job. It took took a big forklift to pull everything out of here. So, which I don't like to be relying on other people, but I have a bunch of people that put that stuff back in and hook everything back up. So, a little nervous about that, but hopefully we can get out that third week of March. If not, I've got the smoker craft, so I'm not too concerned with it because I can just run my trips on that boat. So I'm pretty fortunate there. But yeah, we're as soon as this weather breaks, we're out.
Well, you got a specific date.
I think it's the 21st of March. I do have a countdown website. Like I shoot for that third Monday in March usually. So that gives me a week to have the boat in water, make sure everything's fine, get my last bit of stuff down.
And you're starting in Rochester, correct?
I start in the Port of Rochester. March, April, check for salmon tournament. Over at St. Catherine's. This will be I believe it was the winter or two prior to COVID where we had something similar to this. On the way back from that tournament, we had to drive out to 300 feet of water off the bottom. So many miles off the river is that long?
The bar itself is 5 miles from the mouth of the river. And you guys were out another 4 or 5 miles.
So I was 10 miles offshore just to get around the ice pack to get back to Wilson. And you want to talk about Erie, there's no other boats out there. All you see is ice and wood. And it was impressive.
Down the lake and try to hook around it and then come back.
Right.
Yeah, it was eerie.
Yeah, that was the ice bridge that builds below the falls, and it broke loose. So I started randomly texting everybody that I knew because I knew all you guys were coming back. So I tried to send some people like that I knew were talking like, guys, do not come to the mouth of the river. Just stay out in the lake because it is disaster field. You know,
Yeah.
so hopefully that, you know.
The pictures do it no justice. I try taking pictures because I fished that tournament for many years. I've never seen anything like it, not even anything close to that.
Yeah.
But it was impressive. And then to make matters worse, we were on the outside of it, and there was a cruiser, which I don't know where he came from, but he was heading west, and he was trying to go through the ice pack. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what made you think this was a good idea?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that ice pack, there was no water inside that ice pack.
No,
He
it
was
was
trying to
brutal.
go through it. I mean, you saw pieces of the ice dam from Lake Erie that were floating in there, full-size trees. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. And then once we leave there, we're in Wilson for the month of May, fishing the bar. And then we're at Oak Orchard the rest of the summer. So that's kind of, yeah, I hop around a few different ports throughout the year, which makes it nice. You get a little change of scenery. You get to hang out with different guys, which give you, yeah, it gives you a different perspective on the fishery. You got a couple of different fisheries there.
I mean, I always shoot for April 1st. I feel like April Fool's Day is a good label for us putting boats in. But when you usually put the big boat, and obviously you run a river trip for a long time. And
Yeah, I'm trying to shoot for March 27th this year. Same thing with Rick. I like to get it in for a couple days, get the bugs worked out. Yeah, but it depends on when Wilson Harbor, melts. There's a foot and a half of ice in the harbor, so just have to see. If it's clear out, I might get it in, 27th. But that's what I'm shooting for.
the spring gets here.
Yeah, I still do a few river trips that weekend, but I like to have that weekend available. If the big boat's in, I can go.
There's obviously some overlap here.
Yeah, I overlap for probably 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of April, I'll run a couple river trips. I like to try to get them all in March, but this year, since I've canceled everything from Thanksgiving until Tuesday, I have a lot of river trips to just try to get in.
When does that river, like the steelhead in that river, flush out? Is that May? Is that June? When does the majority of that fish head back onto the lake?
Well, it depends on the water temperature. Like last year when it stayed cold, there were guys catching browns and steelhead into almost June last year. But on a normal winter, usually by May they're moving out.
Yeah,
the end of April is when they start moving out.
Because we're starting to see those steelhead in the lake up there during that Niagara Pro-Am time, and I just figured that was about the time that a lot of those fish are starting to flush out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a very short brown trout window. You guys go right to lake trout, king fishing.
Oh yeah. Brown trout fishing, you get a king here and there. As soon as you get that first king in 15 feet of water, it's like, oh, let's go out to 1680 and see what's going on. So yeah, brown trout season ends pretty quick as soon as the first king shows up.
Yeah.
You guys talk a little bit about your home ports, where you're fishing, and how those ports set up. These guys are all Lake Ontario captains, by the way. All Lake Ontario.
My mic's working good now, Chris?
So I fish out of Bald Eagle, which is in Kendall, New York. It is 7 miles east of Oak Orchard. Love it there. So we have a great marina, great facility, and access to an amazing fishery. Probably the bonus for me is the idea that if we don't have a king bite, we don't have, we can chase something else. We can run offshore. Offshore's not far. We have Lake Troutville to our east, which is pretty amazing, and we have solid brown trout fishing. So it's a happening place. The struggle, typically, if we see one, is going to be that springtime bite. We have a very small feeder creek.
Okay.
So I may have to run to a better brown trout water, whether it's to Oak Orchard or to Sandy Creek to the east, to try to find some watercolor, because we don't really have a good push there. But if we have watercolor, we don't need to go anywhere. But I would say that we lack that versus the bigger ports.
Yeah.
Trying to find that colored water in springtime.
Yeah.
Unless it's immediately following a rainstorm. A few days ago we got some rain. We'll get some color. If it's been south wind for a few days,
forget it.
Was there? It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So south winds, for people that don't know, Lake Ontario kind of lies east-west. We get a south wind. If there's any color on that shoreline, it pretty much blows it offshore, and you're left with clear water. And for brown trout fishing, clear water is absolutely
not good. Not good at all.
We end up, having to run. Typically, I run east. We'll start at like Hamlet Beach State Park and run that down there. There's Yandy Creek that's down there before you get to Sandy Creek. So it gives us some options, but I don't know. I think it's a great spot to fish it. So we have an amazing fishery there.
Yeah.
I fish all along the lake. Fish with Rick in Canada, Canadian tournaments. Do a lot of that, chasing the tournament scene, I guess. Oswego.
Hey guys,
I like where I'm settled. Plus, I'm 7 minutes from my house.
Even better. I don't know where
that's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm out of Wilson, New York. It's 12 miles east of the Niagara River, 6 miles west of Olcott. So it's a good spot in the spring because I'm close to the river water. But the river can also be, a love-hate relationship. When that ice starts to thaw, or if there's no ice and you get wind on Lake Erie, now you have muddy water. Or you guys are like hoping for muddy water. I'm hoping to get rid of the muddy water. Well, if you have a north wind, northwest wind, or even a west, it pushes that river water right along the shore, and sometimes it's like zero visibility. So you want color, but you still want them to be able to see. And then the problem is that there's no edge. So it's not like 100 feet offshore, 200 feet. It might be 3 or 4 miles out. So you just have this bland blanket of nasty muddy water, and it's cold muddy water, like 33, 34, 35 degrees muddy water.
Whatever's already in the lake.
Correct. So the river can be, a disaster in the spring for brown trout because it's just so cold. So yeah. So some days it helps you, and some days it's, you just have to try to avoid it. And if that's the case, we might slide out and try to catch lake trout. They'll bite a little bit better on the edge of that dirtier water.
Cool. So guys, let me steal that mic up here real quick, Rick. So again, we got Captain Rob Westcott, Captain Rick Hajecki, Captain Matt Yablonsky, all three guys, Lake Ontario captains here with us today. We're going to be talking some fishing here. So if you've got questions specifically to maybe what these guys are doing to chase salmon on Lake Ontario, and even if you're not a Lake Ontario guy, if you're a Lake Michigan guy, a lot of what they're doing can pertain to what you're doing as well. So if you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll choose the winner of the Fish Hawk swag package later on in the show. But let's just start real quick, guys, with a real kind of basic question. Let's say we're going to go fishing in June. What does that trolling spread look like? If you guys can kind of break down what a program would look like on a typical day in June.
June. Should be a salmon play. June means I just came home from Niagara County. I'm typically down there for the Niagara County Pro-Am. That last weekend in May, first weekend in June type scenario. So when I come home to my home port in Bald Eagle, anticipating the same salmon bite that exists there, it's going to be right out front. So we're running a salmon right at that time of year. Somewhat close to shore, 100, 200 foot of water. Anything and everything that we just fish with, no pasta. No, rubber meat fishing, plastic fly fishing, big spreads. Like I said, fingers crossed that we have the king bite. I think it was last year when we came home, we had the coho bite.
Oh, coho bite was crazy.
As good as it was down there, we come home and most guys don't do that down there, you know what I mean? And introducing some people to like a true coho spread. I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. You gotta troll faster.
That's right.
No. Shh, I'm good. No. Keep going. Shh. So that's kind of cool to be able to do that. That's not a typical thing down there.
Yeah.
It's a Niagara bar, early spring, and that's it. So it's nice doing something like that. Sure.
I grew up fishing this lake. I've been doing it a long time, and I'd say the last 10 years, people in June have been absolutely spoiled. It was never, ever, ever this good, and I think some people got a taste of that old school June fishery this past year. June is that month where the lakes start to stratify. We don't really have a great thermocline yet, but it's starting to set up, and these fish are just about everywhere. So to me in June, it's running a huge spread. As many rods you get in the water to cover, as much of that water column, running short cores, long cores, coppers, fishing down 150, 200 feet down there and leaving that fish finder on. And if you're marking fish down there, getting down there because those are generally going to be your salmon. But just covering as much of the water column as possible with what you have.
Too much good stuff.
Yeah, because they are absolutely everywhere in the water column. And in June, it's a mixed bag catch. You're catching Atlantics, steelhead, cohos, Chinook salmon, lake trout. I mean, they are absolutely everywhere. So not being closed-minded, getting a bunch of different, get your steelhead colors out there and your coho colors out there, but have those salmon colors out there as well. It's tough for some people to run that many rods, but it's not uncommon to be running 12, 14 rods in June, just trying to cover as much water as possible because the bite can be pretty tough. Now, prior to last year, we had some amazing Junes where you didn't have to worry about anything else but salmon, and that was
Crazy.
amazing.
The Junes that we used to have, that's gone.
I haven't seen,
I
right.
think it's May now. I think May seems more of a transition month than June does. Like June, I'm like, bring it on. But before we were like, oh no, the dreaded month of June. Well, like, I'm happy to see June.
Yeah.
I don't know. The lake has definitely changed.
Yeah. We've been fortunate the last 2 years. Let's hope that's the way it goes. But it used to be very tough. I mean, there were guys like the Oak. Guys would barely book charters in June because it was such a tough fishery. Again, we've been spoiled, and hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, when I first started chartering on Lake Ontario, I had a 21-foot aluminum boat. So I booked all my Lake Erie walleye trips in June because I didn't want to be anywhere near Lake Ontario. And then what was it, like 2018 or so? It seemed like the fish started showing up in April.
Yeah.
May got slow, and then June was off the chart.
Yeah.
So June has been, other than last year, was off the chart fishing. So like my June would be 5 rods. I'm not running a bunch of rods. I'm only running 5, 3 riggers, 2 divers, because those kings are ready to feed. The water's warmer, their metabolism's going. So I would just try to keep it simple. I don't run with a mate by myself. You know, if I'm getting plenty of bugs with 5 rods, there's no sense in me stuffing a bunch of stuff in. I end up missing the blank, missing the fish, or just getting too overwhelmed. But last year was all cohos. Unless you want to really run some deep stuff for some kings, it was just coho madness.
You can give me that coho fishery. Like, I know guys in Michigan are jealous of the brown trout fishery we have here, but after last year, I'm jealous of the coho fishery they have there. If the high ups of Lake Ontario could ever figure out how to have that consistent coho fishery on Lake Ontario, it'd be absolutely amazing.
It certainly saved us.
Oh yeah.
I was not there.
No.
And then that coho fishery really saved us
Yeah.
for a long time. And it seemed like it didn't want to end. Like, oh, it's going to be out of here in a week. It's going to be out of here next week. It just continued.
Yeah. Once the mature alewives started showing up shallow, like after the Pro-Am and you guys head back to your home ports, there was so much bait. There was bait everywhere. And the kings were hard to get to bite. You could see some of them down deep, but there was so much bait, they just weren't hungry. And the cohos, they never stopped eating. It was like they were growing like a pound a week. It was amazing. You'd catch one, and then it's bigger than they were yesterday. It was an amazing coho fishery.
Probably the craziest coho fight that I witnessed last year was during the week. We got,
I was so angry. I was so angry.
A late start at the week and a day 2, right? Yeah.
Oh, I was angry on day 1.
And no, not that story. And so our late start, let's go out. We're going to box our co-hosts, and then we're going to hunt kings the rest of the day. And I think from the time that we sat down to the time that we were on plane, 17 minutes, we had 9 co-hosts that we had on. I don't think we landed on. We were like 8 for 9 or something crazy. I do remember the one time we had one on the rigger that we normally beat on his boat, and we never adjusted the release. Never released. So he brought the rigger up, they scooped it, they slopped it on the floor,
Still attached.
unhooked it, we threw it over the side of the boat, and he just autoed down on the boat and sent it right back down. And I'm like, this is insane. So,
I think we blasted off at 11. We had to run out to 150, 180, and we're cruising at 22 miles an hour. And by 11:39, we were up and running again to go offshore to catch kings, and we were 8 for 9 on cohos.
it was insane. I'm like, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
I think the day before I was angry because you guys made me go coho fishing. I'm like, we don't need that much time. They're like, we got to get our fish in the box. I'm like, listen, we don't.
Now you got to bring that up.
So angry Rick came out.
Angry Rick. Well, they changed the way they stocked the cohos a few years ago. They were doing fall fingerlings. They switched to 100% spring yearlings,
Right.
and those cohos are surviving. So all of your stock fish are probably getting close to 100% of them are getting to be catchable size versus them going into winter as babies and trying to feed and live. And it didn't work. They figured that out, and we beat on them for a while to like, look, these cohos are not making it. So, I think that is a product we're seeing as well. So thank you for the DEC. Plus, I'm sure we're getting some wild fish.
100%.
There was way more cohos out there than just what they
Yeah,
stocked.
that wasn't all from the
No.
DEC.
Definitely not. But they have, made a difference by putting them in the spring instead of the fall.
Yeah. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Give them up. They're a year old. They're already ready to go.
You guys brought up something I saw last year when I was here, which was there was a lot of bait out there. It was something that you kind of had to tackle last year just because there was plenty of things for the fish to eat. Do you think that will lead to bigger fish this year just with the amount of bait that was in the system last year?
You would think so,
You would think so.
but I doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is. I keep a spreadsheet of that. We have a spring, summer, and fall derby, and I keep a spreadsheet. We have of each one of those where the top 20 salmon in each division, or in each derby, you can just watch them slowly getting smaller throughout the years, and there's not been an uptick. Yes, there's a lot of food out there, but I think it's something else that is keeping us from those big salmon that we used to see. And nobody has an answer.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think
Nobody has the answer. We've been trying to. Everybody's been trying to figure it out. A lot of thing when you have a lot of bait, the fish eat more and they mature faster. So a lot of our matures are 2-year-olds instead of 3s or 4s. If there's not a lot of bait, the first 2 years of their life, if they stay smaller, they'll get to a 4-year-old fish. So we're just not seeing any 4-year-old fish that are those mega giants. So
that early maturity.
yeah,
A lot of theories.
yeah, there's a lot of theories.
I find it funny when you hear guys talking about 4-year-old fish. I mean, when you're talking to DEC guys that are taking samples from all the tournaments and they're studying fish that are coming through the hatchery, like 4-year-old fish in Lake Ontario is like what, 2-3%?
Very rare.
I don't even know if it's
Very, yeah, maybe 1% even.
It's like
We just don't have 4-year-olds anymore.
And those are your bigger fish, obviously. They got a year longer to grow. So
so I know like our average mean. What do they? The big number they go off is 2-year-olds. Is that 2-year-olds? That's the big number they use with length and weight.
yes, yeah,
Determining factor.
It's kind of gone down a little bit, but that kind of has a little bit of bump in the road. But I think that the fact that we don't have those maturity,
yeah.
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So.
Can I borrow your mic for a moment? So we just got a question from Glenn on Facebook, and it's kind of an interesting question. He says he always hears about captains finding temperature breaks. He says, I believe I've only come across maybe a few times where he's seen a big temperature break, maybe 4 or 5 degrees difference while he's trolling, but he hasn't experienced like a bite in that area. So he's kind of asking, what do you guys see when you come across those big temperature breaks, and is there something that he needs to do differently to find those and have fishing success around them?
So I think that's one of the things that's changed for the lake. It seemed that let's go 20 years back just as a number. We always had that thermal bar essentially that's set up on shore, and we literally chased it out as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
I think the lake sets up totally different now. I think there's actually probably more thermal bars that we would fish, but I think they're on the medium side. And that's why we don't see it. But I'm sure that you see more of the temperature break because you have a river.
Yeah, the river is definitely makes a difference in that. It's more of an unnatural temperature break.
Right, you get that bubble.
Yeah, because the river water is way colder in the spring and then it's way warmer in the summer. So there's sometimes where the surface will change 15 degrees and just going through dirty water to clear water, and typically there's nothing in that cold clear water, and you turn back into the dirtier warmer water, you'll get fish. But like you're saying, like Lake Ontario will warm up and it's all the same temperature out further. We don't have those.
You get that,
Yeah.
That was always like steel like magic right there. You get an offshore hard break like that.
You're talking surface breaks or
Yeah.
underwater breaks? Surface break or underwater?
I'm actually thinking, at least the way that I believe I'm interpreting Glenn's questions. You'll be trolling along, let's say that ball is 100 feet down, and it's at 48 degrees, then all of a sudden you hit 44.
Yeah.
You see those, and I think that's just kind of reflecting off the underwater structure, and the current kind of turns around it. You get those kind of walls of water, is how I would describe it.
So I don't think people understand, but Lake Ontario is at its warmest in September when most people are kind of getting off the lake. That lake is warming throughout the whole entire summer, and it finally gets to its peak sometime in September, maybe late August. That's when you're going to see your giant breaks. When I talk giant breaks, like breaks where you can mark them on your fish finder utilizing 200 kilohertz. I'm talking 8, 10-degree breaks within a few feet of the water column. And that's due to the wind blowing it around and creating those breaks. But if you're looking for a massive break like that, you're not going to find it May, June. You're going to find it August, September is when you're going to find those massive breaks. Those breaks are pretty much like a wall separating two rooms as far as I'm concerned. In September, you're going to find those salmon that are going to be in that warmer water that time of year because they're not really interested in being in that cooler water. Typically, your bait's going to hang right around that break, a little above or a little below it. But that's really a good starting spot. At least how I fish it is I will start there and put everything else below it. I don't fish too much above it unless it's late August, early September. But I will say, guys utilizing some different sonars, some live sonars that are out there, they're seeing fish flying around in that warmer water. Steelhead clearly don't mind being in that warmer water, so I wouldn't not put anything there. But the way I usually fish, I'm going to fish from right where that break is. I'm going to fish down as cold as I can get.
Yeah, I agree with Rick on that. When I fished late September, I even did trips in October last year, and you set up in 250 feet of water, it's still 68, 70 degrees down 100, 120. So you start off with your stuff down deep, and then as that temperature changes on the fish hook, right, yeah, and I troll straight north looking for that break. And then I just bring my probe rigger up with a fish hawk on it to the temperature I want to fish. And once you get out so far, you run out of warmer water and you'll see it's all cold. And then you just turn around and come back to that edge. And then once I hit that edge, I'll go east and west on it, just trying to keep it right into the too warmer water and too colder water. So I'll work that edge and just kind of lift the riggers up and down and keep the fish hawk probe right where I need to be.
For me, like those hard breaks like that is something that can.
Oh, definitely.
Like, you have, we're not fishing structure. Fishing, this.
Oh, that is your structure.
Right.
And that becomes your structure. So it's something that's different that's in the water column. Those are the things you make note of. Hey, there's a hard break and let's say in 170 foot of water. As you troll north, maybe there's another one. Now you got kind of, an outside perimeter, inside perimeter, and that. But those fish and bait are going to relate to those.
Yeah, and that September, October, those don't change much. Once you get that wall, you can go back the next day, and it's basically in the same spot for weeks.
How consistent September can be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the warmer water just wants to stay put.
And don't get me wrong, I guess you could see. I remember fishing a tournament out of Rochester in June, July, where there was a pretty significant break in a short part of the water column. So it can happen earlier in the year, but you usually see those giant breaks into August and September.
Like after a big wind event.
Yep.
We'll see those temperature changes, but give it 2 or 3 days to calm down and it's all bland water again.
Figured he had another.
Yeah, appreciate that, guys. I think that was some really good information. Let's talk a little bit about, I think what I like about hanging out with you guys and just being around you is just seeing some of the things that you guys do, some of those little things that become an edge for you as a captain or even as a tournament guy. Can you tell us a little bit, maybe give everyone a tip on something that you do that you think helps you that you don't see a lot of other people do when you're fishing?
Well, everybody knows I like to run slide divers. To me, I like to run my spoons 38 feet from my diver at all times.
So not 37 feet.
No, because I run 30 feet of fluorocarbon from my wire to my swivel and then an 8-foot leader. I know it's 38. It's 38 feet. So to
It's not
me,
nice to make fun of people.
to me, he likes to make fun of me. Everybody makes fun of me, right? It's fun.
We should all try to be a little bit nicer.
I suppose you need to.
But I like to run those, especially my high divers. I'll run them 38 feet. And when that June bite, if it's a little iffy and the water's getting clearer, that having that spoon further away from the diver seems to, help me out. And then I'll run flashers underneath those. And with that long lead on my high spoon, I can get that flasher closer to my spoon because I'm running my inside divers deeper and further back. And that high diver a little further back, they can see that flasher. And I think they can look up and see that spoon because they're not 60 feet apart. All fly divers. 100% fly. So for me, that's something that just like standard little ring. Last year I was at the bigger rings because I didn't get the big ring. I'm still getting them down around 100 feet to get some stuff. Anytime you want to know, just send me a text. But that to me is something I do different. That there are a few guys that are catching on to it, but I'm exclusively slide divers, and it makes my program different. Whether it's not golden, because you guys use divers and this and that, and we all catch fish, but it's just something different that I do.
Me? All right. So
Stop kicking the can to me.
something I
Rob doesn't
something
wanna
I
go first
pride
anymore.
myself on. You guys, are you hearing it pretty good, Chris? We good? You hear me? Okay. So something I feel like I pride myself on is on the way to the lake, I don't call a bunch of people and kind of figure out what's going on. I've tried to get out there. I'm a weekend warrior. I fish Saturdays and Sundays. I try to get out there Saturday morning and figure the lake out, read the water, even though I'm running a charter, and do that throughout the day. There's a lot of information out there. I know there's a lot of guys providing information on where the fishing is and what lures are going. But when it comes down to tournament day, if you're relying on other people's data to try and catch fish and the lake changes, you're going to be screwed. So I treat a charter like a tournament, and I'm trying to understand how the lake has changed and what I'm looking at utilizing electronics, whether it's my fishhawk probe and trying to figure out where the thermocline is. I'm utilizing my electronics to mark fish and bait when I'm up and cruising. During the summertime, one of the biggest things is when you leave the harbor, when you're cruising out, you should be able to mark bait on your fish finder as you're heading deeper. And the minute you start marking that bait on the bottom, you kind of have an idea where that thermocline is, and it'll change the further you go out. But being able to utilize your electronics to understand what's going on in that lake will help you when it comes to tournament fishing, in my mind, and not relying on other people's information.
Well, I like the electronic game too. Boat's full of it. I think a lot of it is from fishing with you. So, you introduce things like the smart tool, like gotta have it, that sort of thing. Love information. Certainly the idea of going out there and beating the lake every day is, I think that's what the draw is for all of us, right?
Right.
It's a chess game. Like, we're not going out there and, no offense to the bass guys, but we're not pitching jigs under a dock. We know the bass live under the dock.
Right.
Where else is he gonna live?
That's it.
We go out there every day, and that's the challenge. And I think we probably all have different ways of how we attack it. Things that I do different. I don't know. I have OCD, so maybe some of that, like Matt.
38 feet.
38 feet.
I have no idea how he fishes with me, dude. I'm tying meat rigs in the morning of the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Ricks are ready 2 years ahead of time, or Rob, 2 years ahead of time.
When I'm fishing with them, I'll change the presets on the downrigger.
Oh.
Weird numbers.
Oh yeah.
I hate that.
Weird numbers. And he's like, it's got to be exactly.
Downriggers go on 0 and 5. That's what they end in. That's it. We don't do 1s, 9s, none of that stuff.
44 and 55. He's like, what are these numbers? They'll go over and.
Yeah. Zeros and fives. That's.
So
You got to keep it so you can remember it.
he thinks that he's not OCD, but he's gonna stay.
That's called paying attention to the details, Rob. Details. What's the diver on? 300, not 301, not 299.
I like similar numbers. Like 222.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'd drive me nuts.
No, it doesn't work on my boat either.
Really?
Oh no.
We have a question come in. Just wanted to know about what electronics you guys are running on your boats.
I run Lowrance. I'm one of the old school guys that still likes Lowrance, but I've been using it for 40 years. So it's just, and I know how the insides and outs. I run Lowrance and I don't have any problems with them. I'm not a big electronics guy. I've got, 9-inch screens. I've got one in the front, one in the back, and I've got one for my radar. So I'm just kind of basic with mine. And I see fish. I can mark my downrigger weights deep enough, and they work good for me.
I have a lot of electronics on my boat. I would say we probably have the same amount. But when I'm not fishing, that's what I do is I work in a marina and I sell electronics. I've always been a geek when it comes to electronics. I've had Humminbirds on the last 3 boats. So probably 15 to 17 years of running Humminbird electronics. I've had basically all the units that they've made. I think what it comes down to is the sonar we're using in the Great Lakes, especially Michigan and Ontario, where we're fishing these deeper water areas. All the major manufacturers will run, but it comes down to the transducer. If you are utilizing a transducer that came with the fish finder in the box, it is not the right transducer for Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan. It just doesn't have the power to get down to where we're fishing. So obviously we've got Humminbird electronics on my boat. I've got Fishhawk, Smart Troll, and a more. So I've got all the pros you can imagine. What else? I got a lot of stuff.
I mean, that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Cannon, Humminbird,
Yep.
Fishhawk,
One boat network.
So that's a cool thing to have. Typically, while I'm running a Smart Troll Pro, my divers, but I also have a tendency to run on my highest rigger, so I can kind of know what the thermocline's doing.
Oh,
Fish off, I might be fishing in that cold water with a paddle, and my high rigger has Smart Troll Pro on it. Sometimes I put one on the other rigger, depending on what things are. So I really know what's out.
All right, we all run 3 rigger systems, right?
Correct.
All right, where's your high rigger? No. Where's the boat? Left, right, center.
Starboard side.
So that's your high?
Yep.
Where's your high rigger?
Port.
My high rigger center. So that's the board.
Yeah. I keep
Okay.
my center rigger my deepest with my probe on it, so I can chase the temperature to know that's the deepest I want to go, and then I step up from there.
So you know, my center rigger, my highest, that's my warmest, and everything else goes below that. How do you do it? And you have 12 inches in cold water or warm water?
Yes, always in cold.
Yeah, no, I'm talking when we're fishing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, obviously, there's a lot of information going on. So, and optics is another thing that I have on the boat. So, I have the one boat network things happening, but I also have fan optics screen back of the boat. Attached with a center down rigger, so it's like watching a video game all day. 2D Humminbird up top, and then your standard fish finders and those I'll drop down with fan optics. So pretty wild to watch all that.
Keeps your customers gives your customers something to look at when they're not catching fish.
They're like, look at that.
Oh yeah, look at there's fish there. Yeah. Oh, how much can you catch that one either?
It's pretty exciting to watch. There's some little tactical advantages that are tactics, you know what I mean? But obviously, having all these electronics isn't something that's necessary. There's certainly people that could win with a lot more primitive methods, but I'll take any advantage I can get on them.
And they're so good. They give you so much good information that if you're not utilizing it, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I think it was last year he called me. He's like, "Hey, have you seen the same thing under divers?" Like, yeah. And we were trolling the east and west on that day, and it's like something crazy, 30 feet difference. A diver.
Oh yeah.
And he called me because I knew. He was like, "Hey, you see this, right?" Yeah, this is wild. Being able to take that and know, like, hey, we're getting bites. This and that. But when we turn and we're going this way, now they're 30 feet higher.
Yeah.
We got to let out another, 70 feet or whatever it was that day to get those divers back down where they were. Then when we spun it around, we got to bring everything back up. Right?
Yeah. There's some crazy days when I'm trolling west towards the bar in the summertime after a wind event. The water's crazy. If you're going into the current, you'll see the divers will lift way up.
I've seen more funky stuff on my fish finder fishing in front of the Niagara River than anywhere else in Lake Ontario. Actually, there's one spot across in Toronto where it gives you a false bottom. I don't know what the government's doing over there, but there's a false bottom over there off the Toronto Islands. But other than that, there's those currents. You can sometimes pick that stuff up on your fish finder. It's pretty wicked.
I've seen some wicked stuff down on the bar where it's just you're going west and the boat is like sitting still. The fish hawk's reading 3.6. My surface is like 1.1. I'm like, what am I doing? And then once you cross over like a 6 mile, you're out of that current, and then you start zipping the other way. I mean, and a lot of times those little pockets hold massive. It is very unique. So you see a lot of that crazy stuff down there.
I mean, what is it supplying? 80% of the water in Lake Ontario?
Yeah.
It's
a lot of volume.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're starting to kind of wrap up here. We got a few minutes left here. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys, I love to ask these questions because this is where I found out the real dirt. I'm going to put a scenario together for you. And the scenario is we're going to go fishing. It's July 15th. We're going out in the morning. It's going to be a sunny day, but we're going to put lines in before it gets light. You can run 2 lines. How are you going to deploy those lines and what's going to be on them? Rob's thinking, so I'm going to make Matt go first. I can see Rob's thinking pretty hard.
You're only allowed 2 rods?
2 rods.
I'm running my port rigger and my starboard rigger. I'm double stacking them with spoons, and I'm going to put my
Spoons. What spoons are
silver streaks. I'm going to run. Well, there's some new colors that I just posted on my Facebook that, Chip's got down there. The new, like the UV colors he's got, like the frog, like green and little UV stripe on it and UV paint. Those July in Mudport, I got kings shallow. Like I start out in 80 feet of water in front of the harbor, and there's kings right in 80, 100 feet most of the time. So I'm running 4 spoons, double stacked on my riggers, probably 60, 70 down.
Rick?
I don't know why anybody wouldn't just throw out 2 600-foot coppers. They are so much fun to use. Why would you do
I
that?
don't even own a 600 copper rig.
I'm probably just going down with 2 downriggers, putting a big fish flasher down there with a meat rig behind it, in those fishy salmon colors, which are green, glow, and black. 2 meat rigs down there, and I'm just gonna fish the marks in the screen, whether they're at the thermocline or. I really get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing how deep I can catch fish. So if it's me and I'm not trying to fill the box full of fish for customers, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna scan as deep as I can and try to pull fish down 150 to 300 feet down, just because. Why not?
Just because, right?
Yeah. I mean, you never know when you're gonna have to run into that scenario in a tournament.
How many people come on your boat and say, "Do you fun fish?" Like I charter full time. I'm out all the day. I'm like, no, I don't fun fish. If I have a day off, I'm doing something else. But doing that's you fishing.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting your line. You're picking your bait. I'm fishing every day. It's just what I've got there and when I put it. So that's how we fish.
Yeah.
That's what keeps him interested. That's what he wants to do. And if you get a bite at 200 feet, you're like,
right.
That's us fishing.
There's not a more fun rod on the boat than a downrigger rod. I mean, yeah, divers are cool because of the wire and the no stretch, but I mean, it's still out there 100 or something feet.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're fishing 100 foot down on a.
Customers like the downrigger rods a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Watching that thing pop up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exciting.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm going 2 downriggers with big meat rigs. I don't like small meat rigs. Big meat rigs in the ice.
I like the idea of 2 downriggers to keep it easy, but I also like the idea of 2 divers, and it would certainly be big paddles, meat rigs. It's July. I'm coming out of port. I'm setting up, and I'm going to look at the Oak Orchard buoy on my phone, kind of get an idea where temp is, and then probably start with 75 plus on the North Shoal and figure it out. So, but certainly it's July, my favorite time of the year to fish. And we know there's a lot of kings around, but they put out king stuff.
That's right.
Big bad.
Yeah.
Very good, guys. Let's grab that mic from you. Appreciate these guys coming out today. Some great answers and I think some great information. I know we had some audio things. We're going to pivot, I think, this afternoon, maybe do something a little bit different to try to fix that issue. But appreciate you guys coming out. Again, at 2 o'clock, we got Captain Vince Pierleone and a couple of his buddies coming. I think Matt's coming back on. And then we'll also have Captain Anthony Ellis on as well. And then We've got a show later on this afternoon with Captain Jim Steele and Diane Steele coming on. And then at 5 o'clock, we are going to do our new product showcase, and we will have some deals for you there as well. So if you're looking for a deal on a fish hawk, that's going to be the time to come on, because they won't be better than they will be on that during that show. So make sure you join us at 5 o'clock tonight here as well at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo. Just want to thank these guys. We'll pull them back up on camera. Captain Matt Yablonsky, Captain Richard Hajecki, Captain Rob Westcott. Appreciate you guys coming out today and hanging out with us. And you were sort of a test dummy because we just keep fighting these audio things. So we're going to do a little pivot here this afternoon and get that worked out. But really thanks to you guys coming on.
Appreciate it, man.
Sharing your knowledge. I think it was
Always
fun for the audience.
Always enjoy being on the Fish Hawk podcast.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for watching. We will see you later on here at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo.